to issue 46's feature for the issue for Gaming Insurrection. I am Gaming Insurrection Editor-in-Chief Lyndsey Beatty. And this issue we're doing one of my favorite fighting game series. And I am a fighting game connoisseur. So I tend to play a lot of fighting games. And a lot of them tend to be either Capcom related or they're Mortal Kombat, Warner Brothers, Midway, old school Midway related. So, and by Capcom, I mean Street Fighter and its adjacent related games and spin-offs. So this issue, we're focusing on Vampire, aka Darkstalkers. And it is one of Capcom's best spin-off fighting games. And Capcom has a lot of them. But Vampire is one of the best. And it's a shame because we don't get enough Vampire. I can confidently say we don't get enough Vampire. Vampire has long been dormant. It's been dormant since the late 90s. And there were really 3 main games in the series. And then there's like 2, I guess you want to call them like remakes. There's something going on with Vampire Hunter 2 and Vampire Savior 2. And I just tend to like to think that it stopped at Vampire Savior because the changes that they made in Hunter 2 and Savior 2 aren't beneficial to the game. So that's why we're going to just focus on the first 3 games. And in order to do this, I used Capcom Fighting Collection that came out in June of 2022 to record these. I also have the Vampire Collection that was released for PS2, but it's much easier doing this with modern systems. So here we are. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start with the first game. We're going to do all 3 games, Vampire, Vampire Hunter, and Vampire Savior. And I did arcade playthroughs of each of these games. And some of them we were not successful. And some of them we were okay, but we didn't quite succeed as well as we thought we would. So just I'm going to walk you through, do some commentary on these 3 games and what I like about them, what I don't like about them, and my playthrough and my playstyle with all 3 games. So we're going to get started now. So we're starting with Vampire the Nightwarriors, and I choose speed 3, and I was trying to show off the different characters, and I tend to main Morgan. So if Morgan's in the game, I'm playing Morgan. It don't matter what fight I'm going to play Morgan. So I started out fighting Gallon, who, as with their main fighting game series, Street Fighter, there are some name changes here. And I have a love-hate relationship with the first Vampire game. But to finish that thought, Gallon in the American version, Darkstalkers, is known as John Talbot. So that's a whole thing. So there are a couple other characters that we'll see where they have a different name as opposed to the American version. So anyway, there's a lot of things going on here with the first Vampire, and at first I did not like the first Vampire. I actually started playing with Vampire Savior, and I really should have played the first game. But I rented Vampire Savior, and I'm showing my age because I rented the game. I decided that, I'll play this, and I loved Vampire Savior. And then I went back and played Vampire, and it was for me, it was such a difference in play and how it works. So it really did not grow on me. It took coming back and playing this again for this to be more of a thing for me that I actually enjoyed playing this. So here I'm fighting Victor now. And there's a lot of similarities between Vampire and the first Vampire and Super Turbo. They were released and developed around about the same time. So Vampire plays a lot like Super Turbo. It even looks a lot like Super Turbo. Like the name font for the characters is a lot like Super Turbo. Ooh, GG's. He got hit with a soul fist. Victor is, of course, a play on Frankenstein's monster from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I had to read in college. I actually read it in my English, my British literature English class in my sophomore year of college. Good old Zabel Zarok is another one. His name changed from the Japanese version to the American version. In America, he's known as Lord Raptor. And here in the Japanese version, he's Zabel Zarok. Also, too, if you didn't know, he's a zombie. I mean, they tell you zombie in the background, like, a lot. It's very much back there. Yeah. I very much enjoy this. There's a tier list, and I talk about that in the systems portion of the issue, this issue, where we discuss the tiers for each game. Just know that Morgan is fairly top tier in this one. She is not in Vampire Savior. And Lord Raptor, conversely here, is top tier in, he's okay in this one, but he's not great. But he gets better. By the time you get to Vampire Savior, he's top tier. And you can immediately see why. If you watch high level play, he is ridiculous. Anakaris is okay in this one, because we're now at Anakaris. Also, something I want to point out I love about this, they tell you exactly what type of creature or ghoul the character is in the first game. By the time you get to the second game, they're like, okay, well, if you don't know what these people are by now, you need to go back and play the first game and figure it out. I actually really love Anakaris' theme in the first game. It's kind of catchy, and I really like it. Also, mummies were fascinating. How the Egyptians did mummification and burial was actually super fascinating. Can't believe I got hit by that grab though. So it I got turned into a bat, so I can't really do anything until I come back out of the transformation. But I really actually like Anakaris' character. I mean, he's kind of cool. You say mummies were really cool, and how the Egyptians did mummification and burial was very fascinating. It's a very detailed process. So then, I don't like Felicia. I know that's like blasphemy as a Darkstalker fan, but I don't like Felicia at all. I am not a fan of anthropomorphic cat people. And the thing is, I love cats. So I'm a cat person. I used to have a cat. So I love cats. I was a cat person owner back in the day. I am no longer, but I had a cat. I had a male cat. So yeah, that's the thing. I love cats, and I think the cats in the background are absolutely adorable. But I don't like Felicia as a character. It's just not my cup of tea at all. I don't like people pretending to be cats. So that's a whole thing. But yeah. Also, too, something to point out here about Vampire is that Vampire utilizes a round system. So it's like a traditional Street Fighter. You have, best of 3 rounds. Best 2 out of 3. It does not, in Vampire Savior, they stopped using the round system. Ooh, geez. She got dropped on her head. That was pretty climatic there. I was not expecting that. So I'm making progress through this pretty quickly. There are 10 playable characters, and then of course at the end you fight Phobos and Pyron. The shaman's very cool too. I actually really like the shaman's character. I am a fan of samurai. We also got a perfect and we beat the shaman very, very easily. Not so in the second round, but definitely that first round. I don't think we was like, oh, she's gonna win this one. That fast. But I really actually like the shaman. His story is pretty cool. If you want to know his background, read the Retro Game Corner main section. This issue, we talk about our favorite vampire bios, and he is among the favorites in that section. So we won. That was interesting. Oh, one other thing here too to note: the system for super moves, it drains constantly. Once you fill up the bar, it drains constantly until you actually use it or it runs out. That is unique to Vampire. It is not in any other game in the series. They decided, I guess, they were going to use it and make it be a normal super meter like Super Turbo and later Street Fighter games. But it stops, it drains, and it actually is very reminiscent of Killer Instinct, not Killer Instinct, I'm sorry, not Killer Instinct, SNK, any King of Fighters game, or S-Groove in Capcom versus SNK. I was thinking about Killer Instinct when I was thinking about the round system that they did away with in Vampire Savior. That is very, very Killer Instinct-esque. So that's comparable to that. So we're fighting Albus. We just fought Dimitri. Dimitri. Albus is top tier. I'm also doing massive damage with my moves, and I think it's because I turned it up in the options. So it is doing massive damage. This is very, very, very interesting. And we beat him. We beat Albus very fast, and we got a double perfect, which was kind of crazy. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get a perfect beforehand, but I'm pretty sure I know I got a perfect this last round. Albus is top tier in most games. He's okay in this game, but in later games, top tier, and I saw why. Ooh, he does a lot of damage very quickly. Good old Sasquatch, who is also top tier in Vampire Savior. He's okay in this one. He's fairly decent in all three games. He's apparently top tier. So it this was fun to do. I actually really like playing this first game. I like how he anti-aired me out of the air. He's just like, no jumping, lady, stop it. I beat him. I really enjoy playing this game. So, also too, I'm not fighting Morgan. I'm not going to do a mirror match, apparently. I get to fight Phobos. Phobos is another one. His name changed, as did Albus. In the American version, Albus is known as Rikyo, and Phobos is known as Hudson. And we beat Phobos. You can tell I'm playing the Japanese version also because it's Phobos. If they're using the Japanese names, you can tell pretty quickly. This plays very well because this is an arcade emulated version of it. All of the versions in Capcom Fighting Collection are arcade emulated versions of the games, and you can tell that by the startup screen. But I love that they let you play either version. You can play either the Japanese version or the American version, which is pretty cool. GG's Phobos. So I won against Phobos. I dislike fighting Phobos because Phobos likes to do some really obnoxious zoning. So yeah, there's that. So we're at Pyron, the final boss. Pyron's interesting. Phobos and Pyron do not become playable until the next game. Here, they're unplayable bosses. But in the arcade version, they did actually enable that in the arcade version, I noticed, because notice I could pick them. So, yeah, that was kind of weird that I could pick them. But in the original versions, you could not play as them. You could play as the home version, which was kind of weird. You could play as them. And you can play as them in Vampire Hunter. So there must be a flag that's turned on. If you're using dip switches and flags, there must be a flag that's turned on for you to allow that. GG's, Pyron. So I beat Pyron. So I beat the game. And I love her ending here. She's like, "Give me your strength, Pyron." And so she kisses him, and she does a kiss of death on him and drains him of all of his cosmic life energy, which should make her fairly strong, because Morgan's already strong to start with, but Pyron was an alien cosmic entity. So the fact that she drained him of his energy is kind of crazy. And these are her helpers in her castle. They have names, I just don't know them. And I did learn them once upon a time and forgot. So, I'm sorry. But I know that they are her helpers in her castle. Because they show you her lying there in the castle. And they're like, "So you're going to go out tonight, or are you going to stay at the house?" And she's like, "I don't know. I might want to stay home. I don't know. Possibly. I might go out, have some fun." She's like, they're like, "But mistress, you're like the main, you're like the leader here. You can't be running around out in the streets." That's basically the gist of this ending. I've seen it in English and in Japanese, so yeah, it's kind of weird, but all right. So I get to put my initials in, and I love the ending screen here. It's very gothic horror. It's very, very gothic horror. Yay for initials. I messed up on my own initials. It's kind of weird having to put in new initials now, because I've been married for 2 years. So I still haven't legally changed my name. So now we're going to go into Vampire Hunter, which now you get a speed select. Much like the first one, you get a speed select, but it's like auto and turbo. And then you get a guard select, so you can do normal or auto guard, which automatically blocks for you, but I prefer to be able to block myself. We are playing with a new character as a Vampire Hunter, Donovan, who is not very good according to the tier list. Donovan is not top tier. It plays so slow, because I think I'm playing slow. I chose speed, and I really should have chosen turbo here, but Donovan's not very good, and I understand why Donovan's not very good. Donovan's got a lot of gimmicks. As you can see, his super with the press, the foot press, which is actually very cool. I actually really like Donovan. I do. I like him. But Donovan is very, very, very gimmicky and very slow. Even on turbo, he's slow. Now, you gotta know how to play Donovan too. It's kind of like playing Dawson a lot. And it just seems like so much work. Getting that super to work is also a whole thing too. And it's like, you can do change immortal, because he has like a change immortal, and he turns into a vampire and like attacks. But you can see the startup on that coming a mile away. So that's why it's like, yeah, I don't really. So note that we're still using the round system. But yes, I really like Donovan. I do. As a character, I love him. This is actually really good that we're fighting the other new character, Lele. Also known as Cienko in the American version. She's another one where they changed her name between Japanese and and the American version. Also, too, pursuits have been added now. You can do pursuits. Pursuits are like if I knocked her down, and I did this earlier in the round, but I knocked her down and then I automatically followed up with an extra hit. Ooh, GG's. I actually got that super to work like I needed it to. That was fantastic. That was actually really cool. I was not expecting it to work. I actually got the spacing correct. So let's see if I can do another. I'm going to do another pursuit and follow up. I like trying to get his ice to come out because the ice helps with stun. It kind of stuns him. See, that super doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're gonna hit him with it. I mean, you can hit them with it, but it ain't gonna necessarily like hit them. They can block it. It's not an unblock. And she keeps throwing things at me. Lele's not very good in this either. She's not considered top tier. Oh, yay, my super work. Or special finish. My special work. I don't know what he's saying. Here's Felicia yet again. She gets better. She's considered top tier in the third game, and I saw why. Dude, her speed by itself is ridiculous. So this was a lot of back and forth and trying to get things going, and it just is so much with him. Planning the sword, it's a lot of downtime. There, I did another follow-up. I did a pursuit. But just so much of his stuff just requires so much. You have to do so much to get a little bit. She actually did a follow-up on me. She did a pursuit. That would have been great time to do the press super if I had super with her. When she rolled over and she whipped the uppercut. But that's what I say, like, it was so much, and I got a time over, which is ridiculous in this game. Like, you should not be getting a time over in Vampire Hunter. Or any vampire for that matter. Now, my timer is also moving really fast, but the timer speed is really fast. It's just so much work with Donovan. And I love him. I promise you, I love him, but it's so much work with him. I might actually get another time over here. And I'm doing massive damage. That's how fast the timer is running and how long it's taking. Ooh, my super actually hit. See, that's my thing about Donovan. Like, I don't know when that super is gonna hit and when it's not. Oh, I did change the more point and I missed. I missed. But yeah, you can delay how long that takes too. I think I'm gonna wind up getting another time over here because I just couldn't hit her fast enough. Yep, I got another time over. That shouldn't take that long. But still, that's why, as much as I love playing Donovan, it takes forever. So now we're fighting Gallon again in this game. Gallon, I like him. He's getting better as we go forward in the series. He's getting much better. I tried to trap him in the corner. Now you can do reversals too. That's a thing too. You can do reversals on this stage reminds me a lot of Third Strike, which will come out about 2 years. No, maybe about a year afterwards. This came out in '95, I think. And Third Strike came out, not Third Strike, but Street Fighter 3. It really reminds me, I should say, really more of Street Fighter 3, New Generation, instead of Third Strike. Tonally, it reminds me a lot of New Generation. And New Generation did come out in like '96. Also, a special note here, Gallon's attack is used later. Ooh, actually got that to work. And I made it as an anti-air. Gallon's like shielded attack where he does the downward dive rush is used later on by my favorite Capcom character, one of my favorite Capcom characters, Ruby Hart. And in that game it's called Schwarziel. In this one I don't know what it's called because I don't use Gallon, but Schwarziel and Hyper Schwarziel are Ruby Hart's moves. But they're essentially the same move. And they just repurposed it for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So now we're fighting my favorite main character, Morgan. Now, because I used Morgan in the first playthrough, I didn't want to use her again. I actually do really, like I say, I enjoy using Donovan, so I used him for this playthrough. I also enjoy playing Cienko, so I used her for another playthrough. She whipped that Shadow Blade. I'm not sure how she got hit that, but alright. I kept trying to get this special to come off and work, and it just did not work very well. It's a special, but it's not like a special. It's a special move, but it's not a super move. Yeah, we almost had to win by time over, which was kind of obnoxious. Some trivia too here. Anita is a playable character in Marvel Superheroes, but she's not finished. But they use her sprite from here. And Anita does not really show up again after this. I mean, she's in, I think, maybe one or two other games. Ooh, I hit her with Change Immortal. That's actually kind of cool. I hit her with Change Immortal. I was not expecting to get that to come off at all. Interesting. Now we're fighting Anacars. They changed his theme in this one too, but the background is the same. It's okay. The theme's okay in this one. I didn't care for it as much as I like the first version of this theme. Yay. Donovan is very much an up close and personal. You can't give him time to react to you. Ooh, so much damage with dialect there. Haha, he tried to hit me with his change. She got my fire special. It's an anti-air, but it's not a very good one. Ha, he tried to do his move and I hit him. I didn't actually hit him. Yeah, that was actually a pretty good match. So now we're moving on. We're gonna fight Albus. Again, you can tell I'm using the Japanese version because of Albus. Otherwise, he'd be Rikyo. And I'm just trying to get him in the corner and start wailing away because get that damage down. He's better in this one than he was in the first one. He's consistently top tier, so I really don't want to give him chances to do too much to me. Also, too, if you tap the button while you're doing the lightning with Donovan, he adds more hits. I also like this stage. I do like his stage in this one. I like Albus' stage. I liked it in the first game too. He like throws me a bunch here. Just kind of. Ooh, yes, get away from the bubble, please. Ooh, no bubble. We do not want any parts of that bubble. I'm so glad I popped the bubble. And that is why he stopped here, because he's got all of these. He's got all of those stun possibilities. Also, Donovan does not do enough damage. Even with the higher damage on that I'm doing, he's still not doing enough damage. Ooh, glad we jumped over that. Ooh, we don't want to get... He managed to get away from the foot. Ooh, okay, footwork. Actually got the foot to work finally. That was work. I was like, are you serious? Our fated foe, Dimitri. So, a bit of trivia. Dimitri is supposed to be like the protagonist of this. He's really an anti-hero. Also, all of those women in the background have been bewitched by him. That's why they're in the castle. A bit of trivia here is that Donovan and Dimitri later, so there's a character that is based off of Donovan's ending here that is introduced in Vampire Collection, and the character is D. Now I actually really like D, but it was some lazy sprite porting. So they basically did a what if Donovan's ending actually came true and gave into his darker side. So what they did was take, GG's Dimitri. They took, with that foot press, they took Donovan's head and put it on Dimitri's body, and then made on another character as a what if, which was kind of crazy. Actually, I really like playing as D, so, and then, like you see at the end, when you play with D and you win, Anita is grown up, and she fights him, and it is presumed that she killed him. Which, okay, alright. Phobos here, yet again. Phobos is now playable, so that's a whole thing, too. I heavily dislike fighting against Phobos. Heavily. And it was in this game that I discovered that I really dislike fighting against Phobos. It was in Vampire Hunter. So I'm trying to do some damage and just get him out of there. Because I really don't want to fight him any longer than I have to. Yay. Alright, second round. So once we fight Phobos and we defeat him, we will be fighting Pyron yet again. So there's something to understand too about this and why this is special and why you're fighting Phobos and Pyron again. He did the EX version of that, and it still didn't do any damage to me. So the thing here is, the first game was the first game. Alright, the second game is basically a retelling of the first game. Yeah, I should have got punished for that. It worked. But the first game is the first game. But Vampire Hunter is basically a retelling of the first game. Is actually when the events take place. It's kind of like how they do in Street Fighter Alpha. So every version of Street Fighter Alpha is actually superseded by the next version. So Street Fighter Alpha 3 is the actual, this is what happened in Street Fighter Alpha in the Alpha series. The story in that. And that's why it has everybody who was in Super Turbo. Because it's set between Street Fighter and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. So we defeated Pyron. I actually like Pyron's stage, but I hate fighting Pyron himself because he's unconscious. But yeah, fighting Pyron is really good. I dislike it. Man, I got hit by this. So if you also watch our, I did a lot of damage to you. You watch, you read our property review. We did the Darkstalkers Revenge, Nightwarriors, Darkstalkers Revenge, basically Vampire Hunter. anime, 4-episode OVA. And this doesn't happen in that anime, but him fighting Pyron does. It's actually very good, and we did a review of it. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because we did a review of it in Property. And here, this is her showing emotion for the first time since he started taking care of her. And now she's like a young adult. You know, what if, this is like 10 years later, what if, you know, his ending actually came true, where she's an adult and she's like, I wonder what happened to him. And he, it turns out, is surrounded by corpses, and her doll, her headless doll, he killed all of the ladies who were in his court there. He drank their blood because he's a half vampire. He's a dampier, so he's a half vampire, half human. And he gave into his dark side and became Beat. That's what it's supposing in Vampire Collection. They're saying that this came true. Lots of kanji that I don't know what it says, but it's his ending basically, telling you that that's what happened to him. And possibly if I may one day go back and like play the American version and look at it again, because I've always played the Japanese version of this. That's why I don't know what it says out directly. I've read what it says, and you know, like I know what his ending is, but yeah, it's very interesting. So we're gonna see a little bit of the credits here. Interesting. It's interesting. Also a little bit of tribute to the titular vampire hunters are Cienko and Donovan. So now we're moving on to Vampire Savior. So now they're explaining Lilith and Morgan. Her whole story is very interesting. I actually really like Morgan. She's like my favorite character. So I'm invested in her story. But here we're talking about Jeddah and Majigan and him creating that. So it's Vampire Savior, the Lord of Vampire. That's how the guy says it in the thing. I actually really like this character select music too. So then I'm going to pick Valletta, who in the American version is known as Beatty Hood. We're going to play on Turbo this time instead of normal. This should go a lot faster. So we're fighting Anakaris. I actually really like Anakaris' stage this time around. And I like the music in it. It's very mellow and laid back. Desert. Beatty Hood's doing a lot of damage here. Now, what I like about this, notice that there is no longer a round system. There is a life marker system. And it's very Killer Instinct-ish. By this point, Killer Instinct had already come out. And that was the whole thing in Killer Instinct. I do go into Dark Force mode at some point. I don't think it's against Anakaris. And maybe I don't remember. Every time you see me try to do the super Apple for You, I was trying to do another super instead, and Apple for You kept coming out, and I was like, this is annoying. I'm really trying not to waste the super and do that. But Beatty Hood is considered top tier in this. Anakaris is not. Beatty Hood's weird. I have no idea what it's saying. I also got a trophy. I'm very, very proud of myself. I got a trophy. It's because I'm playing through. I'm playing through Vampire Savior. This is Sasquatch and Rikio's stage, which features what looks to be Killer Victreebel from Pokemon and a Killer Ammonite back there in the background that's killing that fish horribly. But again, you see every time I do that, like I'm not coming out the way I want to. This is actually interesting. Sasquatch is top tier in this game, as is she, and I understand why, because it lends itself. He can do a lot of damage very quickly. That's why he's top tier. Also, he's got a stun move, so that helps. But she can do a lot of damage. I also really like fool hunting, or cruel hunting, as it's known. Her other supers, I mean, kind of can see coming a mile away. Her startup on cool hunting is like next to none. So it literally can come out of nowhere. Oof, I could have thrown it in. That's why I got that special ending with my butler paying me my Darkstalker fee. She's a dark hunter, and that's why she's got all of her weapons in her basket. And she's an S-class hunter. She's like top. Victor is terrible in this game. He is terrible in every game. He is never going to be top tier. I actually really like this stage too. The stage is one of my favorites. It's supposed to be reminiscent of World War II. And war, that's why it's warplanes flying overhead in the background. You have to kind of be looking at it to see it. And I need to be in range, but you can see it back there a little bit. But it's set in wartime. I was like, I don't know what it has to do with vampire, but all right, it's cool though. I'm not gonna be like, no, I'm not playing this stage because it doesn't have anything to do with it. But yeah, it's actually really cool. I actually like the track too, though. But yes, those are bomber planes. You can see it a little bit better. I finally got beautiful memory off. She has all of these supers that she has here. She has them in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I went into Dark Force mode. So, Dark Force mode, as you can see, she shoots nothing but missiles. It is constant missiles. Also, because I got the special finish in Dark Force mode, I got that special finish, ending thing, which is kind of cool. So now I fight the Shaman. The Shaman's top tier in this too, I think. I think he's fairly good in this. I'm trying to think, do I get to fight, I think I get to fight Oboro the Shaman, who is not actually really good, but, the Shaman is, but not Oboro the Shaman. I actually really like the Shaman. He's fairly good in like every game, if not top tier. Some characters are just consistently top tier in the vampire game. I went back in the Dark Force mode, but he's wasting my Dark Force by grabbing me with his grab, and I'm like, don't do that. I kept trying. Every time I was trying to get Cool Hunting to come out, and I got Apple for You every single time. Also, too, I like the fact that I ended that with an anti-air. So now we're going to fight Dimitri on Iron Horse, Iron Terror, which is an interesting stage. Very interesting. Get ready, fight. I love the announcer in this. Like, I love the announcer in Vampire. It's been around since the first game, but I actually really like the announcer. I'm not actually getting perfect here. I don't know if you do it. I got a pursuit, which was great. Still didn't do a ton of damage. I noticed in high level play, I did not get a perfect. Okay. So I did Dark Force mode. Lots of missiles. Also, the thing about Dark Force mode is they get like specific moves. Everybody gets specific moves in Dark Force. Also, the damage that you do is not. So if you'll notice, in normal play, damage is kind of recoverable. We hit him with beautiful memory, and he died. Got an EX finish. But I got 20,000. I do think I get to fight Oboro Bishaman here because I met all of the conditions for it. But anyway, in Dark Force mode, you get specific moves, and also the damage. You'll notice damage is recoverable here, but in normal play. But when you're in Dark Force mode, that white damage that you see kind of hanging on at the end of the life bar, you don't get that. The opponent, whoever is within it, does not get that recoverable damage. All the damage that is done in Dark Force mode is permanent. It's not recoverable. So that's why you want to do Dark Force. I actually got Apple for you to work. That was kind of cool. He actually like took it. Oh, I got it to work a second time. That's kind of cool. It's just so hard to get that going. And he wasted my Dark Force mode time by hitting me with his heels, which was kind of obnoxious. I was really trying to finish there with Dark Force. But I actually met the conditions. I'm pretty sure I get to fight Oboro. Because I can't imagine that I didn't after I got several special finishes like this one. I hit him with beautiful memory. And so I got an EX finish. You have to do a certain number of finishes and certain types of finishes in order to be able to fight Oboro Bishaman. Because my final fight here is not against Jeddah, it's actually against Lord Raptor here. So that's why I knew it wasn't Jeddah. Jeddah for some people is the final boss, but most people have a special fight at the end. Also, one of my favorite stages here, Forever Torment. Lots of torture devices here in the background. It's very macabre and very cool. Also, I like the stage. That seems about right for her, though, to be on the stage. But yes, very cool. I really, really enjoy playing Vampire Savior. He got Hell Dunk on me. I forgot he did Hell Dunk. I actually let him do that because I wasn't paying attention. I think I actually get Team Hunting off finally, where I actually get it to work. There's a lot of gunshots going on here. Yes, I did. I did get that work, finally. I was trying to do it the whole time. And I successfully got it to work. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yes, I did. I got to fight Oboro Bishaman. Okay, so Oboro Bishaman, you see he's mastered the evil in the armor. That's the difference between him and regular Bishaman. Also, note that he does not have souls around him because the armor does not require him to get souls. And that's how you know that you're fighting Oboro Bishaman. Also, he's a dull orange color instead of red, like the armor is. The normal armor for Hanya is red. This is really just a formality of fighting him. But he had the samurai who is cursed here, the shaman. Ooh, I got to work on Oboro. Also, he masters that. It's a what if he managed to master and conquer the evil in the army. So yeah, I'm fixing it. And I won. But yeah, it's just a special battle. And you get a little something extra, I think, for beating a girl with Sean. Her ending is basically, so I got another trophy too. Her ending is basically, they're like, oh no, this serial killer is on the loose. Beware. She's attacked these places, and these wolves are like sitting there in Mackay, and they're watching the news. And he's like, Mom, Dad, do I have to worry about her coming to get us? Because, I'm scared she's going to come get us. Because it's a baby wolf with his family. And they're like, no, you don't have to worry about anything. And the problem is she's standing outside of their home. Because the implication is that she's going to go kill the entire family. Because she's crazy. She's a serial killer. So Vampire Savior's staff role is actually fantastic. I love this staff role. It is one of my favorite staff roles ever. And Capcom, listen when I tell y'all this. Capcom sound department does not miss. Capcom sound department stays on point. There's a reason why I have a lot of Capcom soundtracks. So that's it for my vampire stuff and for our feature playthrough. I'd like to thank you for watching. I love talking about vampire. I love playing vampire. I love watching old videos of vampire high level play. I am old enough to remember when Skillsmith was a thing, and Skillsmith was very good as a group with vampire, and they used to put out videos and like put them on videotapes, and like people could order them, and you would get high level tricks and combo videos from Skillsmith. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember all of that when Vampire Savior was a whole thing. And there's still a scene for Vampire Savior, which is actually really cool, and I'm very, very, very pleased that there is still a scene for it. There was a side tournament for it at the most recent Evo, which was like maybe about a week or so ago. So yeah, Vampire Savior is very much still a thing. Vampire Hunter, no, people just play Vampire Savior because it's a better game. People don't play Vampire at all, as far as I know. There's no scene for it. But Vampire Savior, yes, and you can find people playing on Fightcade a lot. I personally don't play on Fightcade because I just don't like playing against other people, but I enjoy watching matches. So I tend to watch high level vampire play on Vampire Arcadia on Twitch. That is listed in one of our resources for Vampire this issue. You should definitely go watch their stuff on Twitch. They stream 24/7 practically. And they have a lot of videos, and a lot of their stuff is dedicated to Vampire, but they also stream other fighting games. But Vampire is their main source. I tend to watch a lot of their videos. I tend to watch a lot of things on YouTube, because YouTube is a good source for old high-level play and actually current scene high-level play. So I highly encourage you to get on YouTube and Twitch. Look up Vampire Arcadia. And they are actually also on YouTube, so you can follow their channel there too. Play Big One Arcade, that's in Japan. They have a stream. They tend to use Justin Wong's stream on Twitch. Follow him also. He also commentates and plays a little bit of Vampire. He doesn't play a lot of it, but he does play. He dabbles in it a little bit. He allows them to use his stream, and so that arcade will stream their play, and a lot of it is Vampire. They play a lot of Street Fighter Alpha 3, just current games that are being played now. They use it also for that too, but they have a lot of arcade cabinets, and so they do stream Vampire from time to time, Vampire Savior at least. So I want to thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting us and letting me ramble on about Vampire and its associated dormant state. that I wish were not so. Please come back and watch our videos, and we would like to see you soon. Thanks for watching.